Hi, it's Andy here at Photech Video. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to take a photograph of a landmark, a monument, or a cityscape, but there were people and cars moving around everywhere, completely spoiling your photo? In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can take a photo and make all the moving people, cars, bicycles, etc. completely disappear from the photo without using a photo editor or AI, all at the press of the shutter release button and all in camera. So today we're diving into the world of long exposure photography and how to make people and other moving objects disappear from your shots with the help of a neutral density filter. Now, long exposure photography is a technique where you just leave the camera's shutter open for a longer period of time, blurring out any movement in the scene. And now I'm going to say something which I absolutely hate hearing. I've heard it so many times in so many different videos, but it's the truth. Neutral density filters are like sunglasses for your camera. They reduce the amount of light which hits the sensor of your camera. This allows you to use longer shutter speeds even in bright conditions, so that a scene with people and vehicles moving around taken at a normal shutter speed looks like an empty, abandoned, eerie scene when taken using a long shutter speed. So let's head out to a busy spot with our camera and see this in action. Now, I want to make this demonstration as simple as possible for you, so that you can then follow my guidelines and try it out for yourself. Once you've seen how simple it is, then you can vary your shutter speed, your f-stop, your aperture, and also your neutral density filters. I've got my camera set up on my tripod, and I'm going to be using an ND1000 filter, which cuts out 10 stops of light to really be able to lengthen the exposure to be able to create this effect in camera. Now, there are many different types of ND filters. Some of them are fixed ND values and others are variable ND filters. But as I said, today I'm going to be using my fixed ND1000 filter, and hopefully that is going to help us to achieve the effect that we are looking for. Before we take the photo using the long exposure, we're going to take a photo of the scene exactly as it is, with people and bicycles all moving around in the scene. Once we have the correct exposure and focus for the scene, we'll then add our 10-stop neutral density filter to the lens, and we will reduce our shutter speed by 10 full stops, leaving all the other camera settings exactly as they were for the previous photo. And hopefully we're going to see a big difference between the first photo, which has those people clearly visible in it, and the second photo, which hopefully is going to make the moving objects completely disappear. Now, I prefer to use the fully manual mode for this type of photography, and apart from using the manual mode, we're also going to use the manual focus mode. The reason for this is that we don't want our autofocus to be zooming in and out looking for the correct focus during the long exposure. We also want to make sure that any stabilization in the lens or in the camera body is turned off, and if your camera has long exposure noise reduction, also turn that off for better results. And here's a quick tip for you. Because we don't want to introduce any camera movement, any camera shake into the exposure, if we're not going to use a shutter release remote, then I suggest that you use the built-in 2-second or 10-second timer which your camera has. Like this, the camera shake will be at a minimum. Now, the camera I'm using today is my old Sony a5100, and I'm using the kit lens which came with it, which is the 16 to 50mm f3.5 to f5.6. The reason I'm using this camera is because I want you to see that you can create this effect on basically any camera at all, where you can control a manual exposure. Now, the aperture sweet spot on this kit lens is about f0.8 to get a nice sharp focus. So we're going to set our camera to an aperture of f8. We want our sensor to have as little sensitivity to light as possible, and therefore we're going to set our ISO at the minimum which this camera allows me, which is 100. And now, using our built-in exposure meter, we're going to see what shutter speed we need to take a correctly exposed photo with these other two camera settings. So with our aperture set at f8, and our ISO set at 100, with these bright conditions, the camera is telling me that I need a shutter speed of 1/400th of a second. So we're going to take a photo using that exposure so that we can see people moving around and objects moving around in the photo. 1, 2, 3, and we're using the 10-second timer. So there we go, the photo's been taken, and we can see that those moving objects in the photo are now static. So now we're going to add our 10-stop neutral density filter to the front of the lens, and then we're going to reduce our shutter speed by 10 stops. So first of all, I'm going to attach my step-up ring because this lens has a 40.5mm filter thread to it, and the filter itself is a 67mm. Now we're just going to give it a little bit of a clean, and we're going to attach that to the step-up ring. And now we have effectively cut out 10 stops of light. Now in the previous photo, we could see those people and objects in the photo, but we don't want them there. So using this setup now, hopefully we're going to be able to make them disappear. Okay, so I've just done the calculation for this exposure by using the Exposure Calculator app, which is free on the Google Play Store. And it tells me that if I use a neutral density filter of 10 stops from my original shutter speed of 1/400th of a second, I can bring it down to 3 or 4 seconds. So I'm going to change my shutter speed to somewhere there in the middle. I'm going to put it at 3.2 seconds. And let's see the result that it gives us. Remember, I haven't changed the aperture and I haven't changed the ISO. All I've done is put a 10-stop filter on the front and reduce the shutter speed by 10 stops. We're looking at a 3.2 second exposure. And there we go. Our 3.2 second exposure has completed. And yes, it does look like we've been able to eliminate those people. I'm going to do a little test now. Now it's very bright out here and I really can't see very well whether or not I have achieved what I wanted to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close my aperture by 2 more stops. I'm going to close my aperture down to f16, and by changing those 2 stops on the aperture, that allows me to reduce the shutter speed by 2 more stops. So I can go from 3.2 seconds down to about 10 seconds. So I'm just going to set that up, and my exposure needle is right in the middle. I can't show you because it's too bright here today. So now I'm going to press the shutter release again. Remember, it's got a 10-second delay on it, and let's see whether we get a different result from the 3.2 seconds. And yes, I think we've achieved what we set out to do. This is the 10-second one, so I'll put up the f8 at 3.2 as well as the f16 at 10 seconds so that we can see if there's any difference at all. Now, one thing that I did want to tell you is that most cameras will allow you up to a 30-second shutter speed. After that, you're going to need to use the bulb mode, and you're going to need to use a release cable or a release remote. If you're going to test this out, try to keep your shutter speed lower than 30 seconds. If your camera tells you that you need a shutter speed greater than 30 seconds, remember that your aperture is on its sweet spot, more or less in the middle. So you can open up your aperture, which would be using a smaller f-stop number to be able to allow a little bit more light in, which then will reduce the length of the exposure which you need. And of course, the opposite is true in the other direction. Once you've tried this for yourself and seen how easy it really is to create this effect, you're going to want to play about with your shutter speed and your aperture and your different ND filters. So here are a few little tips. Number 1, use a sturdy tripod. You don't want the camera to move during the long exposure. Number 2, calculate your exposure time correctly and carefully, especially if you're using a very strong ND filter. And finally, don't be afraid to experiment with different shutter speeds and different ND filters. Remember that photography is fun, so get out there and practice, 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 experiment, experiment, experiment. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make people disappear by using a long exposure. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more photography tips and tricks. You'll find affiliate links to some of the gear used in this video in the description section down below. If you do purchase anything through one of my affiliate links, thank you for supporting the channel. The price to you will be the same, and I will receive a small commission which will help me to continue creating content for you here on my channel. So until the next time, this is Andy at Photech Video signing off. Take care and be safe.